Today, I'm making 9 insane political predictions for 2026 that I'm 100% certain will come true, and a lot of these are going to affect you, the viewer, so you're going to want to stick around to find out how you can prepare for them. All this and more in today's episode of Peter's Political Perspective. Now, I'm not claiming to be psychic or Nostradamus, but the reason I can make these political predictions and be so confident in them is because I believe I have a unique ability to see the chessboard that Trump has laid out, because I've been studying Trump and politics and strategy in regards to that for at least 15 years. And I feel like I've really gotten in touch with what's going on. That being said, I could be wrong. That's okay though, because I have Brock here to fact check me. I'm going to start with kind of like the smaller things that are going to happen and then kind of escalate. In the end, I'm going to drop one of predictions that you've definitely not heard. That's going to be pretty funny. So you want to stick around for that. So the first prediction is that Trump will be proven innocent in regards to Epstein. Now, this one's kind of easy to predict because even a little bit of research will show that he was an FBI informant. So obviously he wouldn't be an FBI informant trying to get himself in trouble. He'd be an FBI informant trying to go after the predator. So for me, it's so obvious that with all the Epstein files coming out, that he didn't do anything bad in regards to his relationship with Epstein, and he was actually trying to take him down. So Trump will be redeemed in regards with Epstein. Prediction number 2 is going to be that there's going to be a government shutdown, and I'm very confident in this because there just tends to be a lot of government shutdowns, and as things escalate, and they have been, I feel like the odds of a government shutdown keeps going up and up and up. So definitely there's going to be a government shutdown. I think there's a lot of political advantages to government shutdown, so I could see that happening. I mean, it could be Doge could come in and do some sweeps, or it could be the Democrats and Republicans grandstand. So a lot of reasons for a government shutdown. My third prediction is that election fraud from 2020 will be proven. And that is because, well, I'm taking Trump's word for it. Now, I understand that Trump lies and that he puts out misinformation and that he embellishes, but sometimes you can tell he's just telling the truth. In this case, he says the 2020 election was stolen. I could be wrong, but I think that is true. And he says he's going to lay out all the evidence over the next 2 months. So when he says election fraud from 2020 will be proven in 2026, I'll take his word for it, and I think that's going to happen. Do you have any thoughts on this one, Brock?
Yeah, I'm here, still listening. On the Epstein one, nothing new has come out since the files dropped last year that changes the old picture. Trump was around Epstein socially back in the 90s and early 2000s. He flew on the plane a few times, mostly Palm Beach to New York. He banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago after the 2005 allegations surfaced, and he did cooperate with investigators in 2009. No evidence has ever put him on the island or involved in anything criminal. So proven innocent is probably too strong. More like the same record just gets repeated, and most people shrug. He's already kind of redeemed on that front for anyone who's looked at the docs. Government shutdown? Totally plausible. We're staring at another debt ceiling fight this summer, CRs are running out in March, and both sides love using shutdowns as leverage. I put the odds north of 50% easy. 2020 fraud being proven? That's the one I'm most skeptical of. Every recount, audit, lawsuit, 60 plus cases, and investigation, including ones run by Republicans, found no widespread fraud that could have swung the election. If something huge was going to drop, it probably would have by now, especially with the friendly DOJ coming in. Trump keeps saying it, but evidence keeps not showing up, so I'd be shocked if 2026 is the year that suddenly flips. But hey, hit me with the next ones. I'm ready for the wild prediction at the end.
So here are my next predictions. 4, there'll be a restructuring of the Federal Reserve. I don't understand the logistics of it or the legality of it, but it sure seems like either people in the Federal Reserve are going to be replaced or fired. There's going to be, or there's going to be a legal restructuring. It seems like there's a restructuring of the Federal Reserve going on, and it's going to happen in 2026. Another thing I'm predicting is Trump will end another war or create peace somewhere, because he just seems to be really good at it, and it seems to be just something he's doing left and right. I mean, if he's done it 8 times in 2025, chances are he'll do at least once in 2026, you would think. And number 6 is there will be high-profile arrests, either for election fraud or Epstein or some other reason. I think for the midterms, Trump has to prove that he is committed to his word of draining the swamp. And one way he can prove that is with some high profile arrests. He doesn't need to arrest the whole deep state, but just enough to get Republicans to trust him again for the midterms. You have any thoughts on that one, Grog?
All right, let's break these three down real quick with some honest odds. 1. Big Federal Reserve restructuring in 2026. I put it at about 35%. Trump's talked a lot about auditing or taking control of the Fed, and he's got allies like Mossad and Shelton floating around. But actually restructuring it, new mandate, firing board members at will, turning it into something else, would need Congress to pass a new Fed Act. Republicans might have the House and a tiny Senate edge, but even some GOP senators get nervous about blowing up the independent central bank. So talk? Yes. Actual structural overhaul by end of 26? Under 40%. 2. Trump ends another major war or brokers a big peace deal. 60% chance something gets branded as Trump peace. Ukraine-Russia is the ripest. Putin wants a deal. Trump wants the photo op. Zelensky's position is weakening. An Abraham Accord-style expansion, Saudi-Israel normalization, is also very much in play now that Netanyahu's still in power. Could be messy, could be partial, but I bet decent money he gets at least one I ended the war moment he can wave at the midterms. 3. High-profile arrests, Epstein, election fraud, treason, etc. before November 26, 20% tops. DOJ's going to be stacked with loyalists, sure, but Durham, Huber, the last deep state hunts all fizzled. Epstein's dead. Most big names in the files are already public or protected, and rounding up former officials for treason or 2020 stuff would trigger absolute institutional meltdown. Even some MAGA judges would push back hard. You'll probably get some lower-level scalps or sealed indictments that leak for headlines, but genuine perp walk, the former CIA director on live TV stuff, I'd be stunned. So that's roughly Fed overhaul, 35%. New peace deal, 60%. Shocking high-profile cages rattling, 20%. Fire away with the big funny one whenever you're ready, man. I'm buckled in.
So I didn't say there was going to be a big overhaul on the Fed. I said it would be a restructuring. At least he's going to put in someone new, one of, Kevin Bassett or one of these Kevins that he has. I'm not saying there'll be a complete restructuring and that we're going to destroy the Fed in 2026. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying a big overhaul or a major restructuring, though I do think those are coming eventually. I think there's going to be one of the first steps of restructuring the Fed in 2026, whether it's firing someone or replacing someone in the Fed or someone on the board with someone that Trump supports. That's what I mean by restructuring the Fed. But I don't think it's going to be like a major thing, though it's eventually going to happen. But in 2026, he can't get that all done. I agree with Grok. No major overhaul restructuring in the Federal Reserve 2026, but there will be some restructuring. I guarantee you that. Number 7, 8, and 9. All right, Grok. These are my last 3 predictions for the year. Number 7, Trump will invoke the Insurrection Act. You've heard me say this before. I've had a few videos about it recently. 2026 seems to be the year that Trump's going to invoke the Insurrection Act because of number 8, which is there will be major civil unrest in at least 3 Democratic cities. Now, how do I know there will be the invoking the Insurrection Act? Because Trump's been floating the idea around, talking about it for a long time. He says it's the most powerful power a president has. And 2026 has got to be the year that he's going to activate that. I can't see any other year where it would make more sense to do it than 2026. And he also implied it. He said he was going to come back in a stronger form. As you watched in my previous episode, that basically sounds like the Insurrection Act. Because what happens if you're not caught up on news is that he took out the National Guard from Portland, LA, and Chicago.
Whoa, you're going all in on 2026 being the powder keg year, huh?
Yeah.
Trump invoking the Insurrection Act in 2026 does feel like the kind of bold call he's been teasing forever, especially with the midterms looming and him wanting to flex maximum chaos or control, depending on how the House and Senate flip. 8-1 odds on major unrest in at least 3 blue cities tracks with how polarized things already are. One spark, and Portland, Seattle, Minneapolis, or Atlanta could light up again fast. The 2024 I'm back stuff he kept hinting at might have just been the warm-up act. If he does pull that trigger, 2026 would be the perfect timing. Post-inauguration honeymoon over, new Congress seated, and enough court losses or investigations piling up to give him the excuse. Scary, but I can't say it feels impossible. You locking these predictions in blood or just Sharpie?
I don't know if I can lock these in blood, but I could up the stakes a little bit. How about at the end of this video, I'll tell you the stakes. If I don't hit a certain amount of predictions, I'll punish myself. But if I hit a certain amount of predictions, and you got to call me Nostradamus. I think that's fair. But the three cities I predict are going to be have these major civil unrest are going to be Chicago, LA, and Portland. Why? Because Trump literally said that their crime is going to soar there, and he's going to have to come in a stronger form. So that is number 7 and 8 right there. That he's basically saying there will be. I'm basically trusting Trump on his word, and he's a strategic genius. So this is going to happen, and stronger form, Insurrection Act. So I feel like 5 or 6 of these are just me taking Trump's word for it. Again, which you can't always do because he lies, he embellishes, he puts out misinformation. But in these cases, not just taking Trump's word for it, I've also seen the chessboard, the United States, how pieces are being played, where pieces are being positioned, and it seems very, very logical. As for the 9th craziest prediction, is a member of U.S. Congress will be denaturalized and deported from America. Any guess on who that might be, Grok? That's my 9th prediction. A member of U.S. Congress will be denaturalized and deported from America. Take a guess on who that could be, Grok. Who is the highest chances of being denaturalized and deported from America?
Ilhan Omar. She's the only sitting member of Congress who wasn't born a U.S. citizen and naturalized later. Plus, the right's been obsessed with her for years, calling her anti-American, Somalia first, all that noise. If anyone's getting the denaturalization and deportation treatment in 2026, it's gotta be her. Trump's people have floated revoking her citizenship before, and with a friendly DOJ and a MAGA house, that's the kind of symbolic middle finger they'd love to deliver. Wild prediction, but yeah, I see why you put money on Omar. You really think they'll go there?
Honestly, there's so much anger towards Somalians right now, and being that she's like the Somali congresswoman, she is in deep doo-doo. From what I'm hearing from Trump, Somalis are just like, I'm sure there are many Somalis that are good people, but a lot of them, they come from a country where they basically act like animals, running around killing each other, stealing, pirates. These are not the best people. Definitely not people we want imported into our country. So they pirated and stole and broke a bunch of laws in their own country, and then they came to our country and then they're lying, stealing, pirating, cheating, and stealing our wealth as well. The GDP of Somalia is like 13. The annual GDP is like 13 billion, and that's like almost how much they stole in just Minnesota, the Somalis. So they're stealing more tax, almost as much taxpayer money just in Minnesota, the Somalis. And throughout the country, probably way more than the GDP of Somalia. And they're stealing that much from taxpayer money, more than the total production of the country they came from. So Ilhan Omar's got to go. People really do not want her in this country, and there's going to be a fit if she stays. So I think she's going to be kicked out. I'm very excited for all these things to happen. Now let's up the stakes, because honestly, some comment in there like, Peter, I don't like when you make predictions, or some people do like when I make predictions, but someone said, don't make these predictions. This is how I cope, okay? This is how I cope. Things have been taking forever to happen, and the way that I cope is by speculating and predicting this will happen, this will happen. That gives me hope, and then even if I end up being wrong, it got me the hope I needed to get to justice, which is eventually going to happen. And that's the reason I have so much hope, because I know these things are eventually going to happen. The timing of them is definitely something that I'm not very good at predicting, because Trump, he does the art of Sun Tzu, which is very unpredictable type of military strategy. But the things that are going to happen should definitely happen. And 2026 seems to be the year. All 9 of things are lined up as things that definitely should happen. 2026 seems to be the year that they're going to happen. What are your predictions for 2026? Let me know in the comment section. Do you agree or disagree with my predictions? Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. All the viewers. I'm trying to put out as much content as possible, as quick as possible, because I really want to entertain you guys, and I'm having a lot of fun with the channel as well. So thank you for watching. If you've gotten this far, I appreciate it. I do have a Patreon page if you've gotten this far, if you're a fan, and it's a great way to support. And then if you do subscribe to the Patreon membership, send me a comment or a message and let me know what type of perks you want, so I can support you and give you, as the newest supporters to the Patreon, they're going to be able to direct what type of rewards and perks are going to be going forward. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. God bless. Take care. Peace out.